Hey guys, Dave here. Welcome to Centurions Review, the punk rock band of war game review institutions. We're going to do a playthrough and review of Chicken Time Warp. So let's go over the setup first. First thing you do, we're going to simulate a 3-player game. That's the minimum players needed. So we're going to give each player a character. So this guy will be Disco, that will be Sarah, and this will be Sean X. Next thing we do is we set up the minute window. So there's 11 cards. It goes from 10 to 1, and then you have escape window open. When escape window is open, that means the player with the escape pod can play the escape pod in their turn and win the game. So let's set these up. So 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then escape window. And what's going on with the player cards is, let's say you're killed on a turn, let's say on the 8-minute, you play your card there, and another player, you're out of the game, you're dead, but you're not really out of the game, you can come back to life. Another player can play a Klux capacitor to bring back time, which would bring you back to life. Reason they would do that is if they don't have the escape pod and it's getting near the escape window, they might want to bring back time. So a side effect of that is you could come back to life. Right now we have removed all the black cards from the deck so we can shuffle the deck. The black cards are time slips away, which will remove the highest minute card to ensure that eventually the game will end. And then you dead card, which of course kills you instantly, but like I said, you can possibly come back to life. Since this is game has less than 4 players, we're only going to have 6 you dead cards in there. So we'll shuffle the regular cards and give 4 to each player, and then we have after that we have to shuffle in the black cards. I've had a few occasions where I started the game and I forgot to shuffle in the black cards, and after a few turns I realized I screwed up the game and had to start over. So, alright, so let's give each person 4 cards. Alright, we'll put the draw deck here, and here's our black cards, so we're going to shuffle them in. And to determine who goes first, there's no set way to do it. The players just decide how they're going to do it. So you can do it like the youngest player first, roll a dice to see who goes first, flip a coin, whatever you want to do. Doesn't matter, just think of something. I even saw one game shop near where I used to live had a book that had, like, I don't know, 100 ways to determine who the first player of a game was. So there's all sorts of ways you can determine it. So the way the sequence of play is, on a player turn, they will flip the time warp card to see what minute it is, and then they have the option of playing a card or not playing a card. And then after that, the last phase is they have to draw a card. Drawing a card is not optional, you have to do it. So Disco's going to go first. Let's see what he's got. Well, he's got Stockpile. Stockpile will allow him to draw 2 cards instead of 1, so he's going to do that. And he drew a Cryogenic Freeze, placed in front of a player, and they'll miss their next turn because of ice, and a Mooch, which takes the top card of the discard pile instead of drawing a card. So actually I had forgotten to flip over his minute window. Now it is Sarah's turn, so the first thing she does is flip her minute window. And then she looks at her cards here. She's got a Klux capacitor, will allow you to go back in time. So she's just curious what Disco has in his hand, so she's going to play peekaboo to look at his hand. And she sees he's got swap block, so she knows she shouldn't try to trade hands with him because swap block will stop it. Alright, so now it's time for her to draw a card. So she draws one, she gets time slips away, and this has to be played immediately. So permanently remove the highest minute card from the timeline, so the 10 is removed. This ensures that you can't just play Klux capacitors and keep pushing time back in the game, never ending. Time slips away, forces the game to have an end. So now it's Sean X who is up. So he flips this to the 8-minute window. And looks at his hand. He's got 2 Klux capacitors, a swap hands, and a peekaboo. Look at any player's cards. So he wants to look at her cards. He's just curious. She's got a stockpile of Klux capacitor and a super thief. So he knows if he gets a hold of the escape pod that she's a threat because she has super thief. She could steal it from him. So he's going to keep that in mind. So now he just draws a card to end his turn and gets a Klux capacitor. Alright, Disco is up. Goes to the 7-minute window. He's going to be mean and have Sarah skip her turn. And he draws another Klux capacitor. Alright, so it's Sarah's turn and she gets skipped, so that goes into the discard pile. And so a minute didn't open either. So now Sean X goes. And he flips that, so we're on a 6-minute window. He says actually he wants to swap hands with Sarah. She doesn't have a swap block, so she has to swap hands with him. Alright, so he draws a card now, and he gets a swap block, so anyone who tries swapping hands with him is going to be in for a surprise. So now Disco is up. 5-minute window open. He doesn't want. He's going to do peekaboo on him here. He knows he's got a stockpile and a super thief and a swap block. Good to know. Alright, so he draws a card. And time slips away, so the 9-minute marker is gone. Now it's up for Sarah. It's Sarah's turn, rather, and she actually gets a turn this time. So that's a 4-minute marker. Let's see what she's got as far as cards. 3 Klux capacitors. She has decided she's going to go back 3 minutes just for the heck of it, since she doesn't have the escape pod. So she discards the Klux capacitor and draws a card, and time slips away. So the 8-minute marker is gone. Now it's Sean's turn, so he goes to the 6-minute. And looks these up, and he wants to use the stockpile to get 2 cards when he draws instead of just 1. So he gets a cryogenic freeze and a swap block. Only problem with a stockpile is if you happen to draw you dead, you're dead, so you're more likely since you're drawing 2 cards, but other than that, it's a pretty decent card. Alright, so Disco goes to the 5-minute window. We haven't drawn the you dead cards yet, which is surprising. Swap hands. He doesn't have anything here he particularly... Oh, he's going to mooch. He's going to take the top card instead of drawing one, so he gets stockpile. Now he's happy. Alright, Sarah's up. Goes to the 4-minute window. What does she have here? She's got a Klux capacitor. She's not going to do anything. She's just going to draw a card. You dead, actually. She is dead now, so she died on the 4-minute window. But, like I said, someone can bring her back to life. She keeps her cards here in case she comes back to life. Alright, so Sean is up. So Sean looks at his cards. Super Thief, Swap Block, Cryogenic Freeze. He's going to freeze Disco just to be mean. So actually, I forgot to move to the next window. And he'll draw his new card, which is Super Thief. Alright, so Cryogenic Freeze goes away because Disco's turn was skipped. So now we go to the 2-minute window. And Sean X. Nothing he really wants to do, so he's just going to draw one. You dead, so he died. So, by default, Disco actually won, even though no one ever got a hold of the escape pod. Since it's a 3-player game and 2 of the players died, Disco has won. So anyhow, let's show what would happen. Let's say, so Disco's a winner, but let's just show how Cluck's capacitor could help out in this game. Let's say this was before he died, and instead of playing, not playing a card, he decided to play Cluck's capacitor. This would have went back 1, 2, 3, and Sarah would have been alive, and then he would have drawn the You Dead card, so Sean would have died. And his card would have been placed there, but you get the idea. That's how it's played. It's an interesting game. I'll go to the review now. Anyhow, let me show you actually what the escape pod looks like. Actually, since you haven't even seen it. It's in here somewhere. Wow, all the way near the bottom. But with this card, if you have it in hand, you have to wait till the escape window is open, and then you would play it and you would win. But if other players figure out that you have the escape pod, they're going to try to swap hands with you and so forth, and use Cluck's capacitors to go back in time so you don't get to the escape window open. So anyhow, let's go to the review now. So what do I think of Chicken Time Warp? I like it. It's a good game. It's a filler game. It's not a game you're going to have as your main event for game night. It's something that you're going to play while you're waiting for people to show up for D&D, or waiting for people to show up for Magic, or waiting for people to show up for some big board game you're going to play. But as a filler or a beer and pretzels game, it definitely succeeds. The strong points of the game, the rule book is essentially, I didn't find any errors in it whatsoever, which is unusual. I review a lot of games and I'm always finding errors in rule books or omissions and stuff like that. I didn't find any errors or omissions. I read the rules, was able to play the game. I didn't have to go online to clarify any rules. I have to do that a lot of times with war games because those are pretty complex. So it is refreshing that I could just read the rules and play the game and have no issues. So they did a good job play testing and everything worked like it should. Other good points, super easy to learn. Everyone I played this with, they caught on to the game right away. They had fun, enjoyed it. The game plays all right with 3 players. The only problem with 3 players is when you're playing with 3 players, you're most likely going to win because the other 2 players got killed, so you're the last surviving. However, when you play with 4 or more players, it's more likely that the winner is going to win by jumping in the escape pod at the end of the game. So it's good with 3 players or 4 players or more, but I prefer it with 4 or more. But let's see, other good points. The components are all right. I mean, nothing looked cheap or anything. All the components seemed of reasonable quality. Let's see here. The game is chaotic. Some people may find that good. Some people may find that bad. I enjoyed the chaos. Let me explain where the chaos is. There's a lot of games where people use cards to look at other people's hands and they're looking for the escape pod. So there's or they might be looking for some other card that they happen to want at the moment. So they're going to swap hands a lot, or they're going to steal cards a lot. And then you got the swap blocking cards, so cards are moving all over the table sometimes, especially on 4 or more player games. So that's pretty chaotic. I enjoyed that. Some people may not enjoy that, but that's personal preference. Remind me a little bit of the game 1500 from DVG. I mean, that's a completely different game, but that was a chaotic game too, in that you may destroy all of an opponent's settlements 1 turn, and then like 2 turns later they destroy all of yours. So I kind of like the chaos though. Let's see here. Bad points. Didn't see anything really bad about the game. It plays quick. Yeah, I don't know, it seems like it was properly play tested. I didn't really find any issues, so that's good. Anyhow, I recommend it as a beer and pretzels game or as like a filler game. I think you guys will enjoy it. So if you see it, pick it up. Thanks for watching, and if you like the video, please click like on it. And if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to this channel. And as always, have a good evening.